Hello children, welcome everyone to another wonderful session of Amazing World of Science, where we do NCERT line to line for classes 8 to 12, and we mainly focus on classes 10 and 12, science then and chemistry for 11 and 12 classes. So already we have uploaded a few lessons. Those who haven't watched those videos, do please subscribe to the channel, then watch the videos. And today we are going to continue with surface chemistry NCERT class 12. So already we have done a few topics from this lesson. So today we are going to learn mechanism of adsorption. So this is NCERT class 12 chemistry. So we already learned what is meant by adsorption. So today we will learn the mechanism of adsorption. You know, already we studied that adsorption, why does it occur? Because surface particles of the adsorbent are not in the same environment as the particles inside the bulb. So the particles which are present on the surface or on top, it's different from the environment, or the conditions are different from those particles which are present inside the substance. So what happens is that inside adsorbent, all the forces acting between the particles are balanced, because see, when you take a substance inside, see inside it, so here suppose if the particle is inside, on this particle from all directions, you know, the forces are balanced. But if the same substance is on the surface, so from the top no forces can act, isn't it? Only from the bottom, so it will be unbalanced on the surface. So because the particles are not surrounded by atoms or molecules of their kind on all sides for the particles on the surface, and so they possess unbalanced or residual attractive forces, and these forces of the adsorbent are responsible for attracting the adsorbate particles on the surface. So because of these unbalanced forces, so the particles are attracted to the surface. So extent of the adsorbent adsorption will increase with the increase of surface area per unit mass of the adsorbent at a given temperature and pressure. So at a particular temperature and pressure, on what factor does the adsorbent depends? So how does adsorption increase? With the increase in surface area. When the surface area increases, naturally adsorption also will increase. Then another important factor of adsorption is the heat of adsorption. So what happens is that during adsorption, always there is a decrease in residual forces of the surface, that is surface energy will decrease, which is giving or coming out or appearing as heat. So what do we say? Adsorption is an invariably exothermic process because it is giving out heat. So delta H of adsorption will be always negative. And what happens when a gas is adsorbed? The freedom of movement of its molecules will be restricted. So the amount, so because of that, it causes a decrease in the entropy of the gas after adsorption. So delta S is also negative. You know what is meant by enthalpy, entropy and all that, isn't it? Enthalpy is the measure of total heat present in the system when pressure is constant, that is delta H, that is enthalpy, that delta H is equal to delta E plus P into delta V. Whereas entropy is the measure of amount of energy unavailable to do work. So you understand the difference between enthalpy and entropy. Okay. Now so you can now understand that adsorption is accompanied by a decrease in enthalpy and decrease in entropy. Both enthalpy and entropy will decrease along with the process of adsorption. And so this is a spontaneous process. The thermodynamic requirement is that at constant temperature and pressure, delta G must be negative, that is delta G can be negative if delta H is also highly negative. Okay. So you can see the equation, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Remember this equation, it is very important. Okay. And minus T delta S, because if delta H has high negative value, minus T delta S, the combination of these two factors will make delta G also negative. So, as the adsorption proceeds, delta H will become less and less negative, and finally delta H becomes equal to T delta S and delta G becomes 0. So, at this stage equilibrium is attained. So, just read and understand this concept well, it is very important, and I hope you follow this. Now, we will find the different types of adsorption. So, mainly two types of adsorptions are there, that is adsorption of gases on solids, and that is if accumulation of gas on the surface of a solid happens due to weak van der Waals force, then that adsorption is called physical adsorption or physisorption. When the gas molecules or atoms are held to the solid surface by chemical bonds, then we call it chemical adsorption or chemisorption. Okay, now you understand the difference between physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. So, the chemical bonds may be covalent or ionic, it can be anything. And chemisorption has a high energy of activation, and so therefore it is called normally activated adsorption. See, it is not absorption, it is adsorption. Do not get confused between the two. So, sometimes two processes, as we already discussed, it can occur simultaneously, and it is not easy to say the type of adsorption, that is whether it is physical or chemical, it is very difficult to say. So, physical adsorption at low temperature may pass into chemical adsorption as the temperature is increased. So, if you take the example of dihydrogen, it is first adsorbed on nickel by van der Waals forces, then the molecules of hydrogen will dissociate to form CH2 will dissociate to give H plus H, and some of the important characteristics, and see this H plus H will be held on the surface by chemisorption. So, the important characteristics of physisorption is lack of specificity, that is at a given surface of an adsorbent, it does not show any preference for particular gas, as van der Waals forces are universal. So, any gas is just the same. What is the nature of the adsorbate? The amount of gas adsorbed by a solid depends on the nature of the gas. So, whichever gas you are using, it depends on the nature of the gas. Then in general, easily liquefiable gases like with high critical temperature, they are readily adsorbed as van der Waals forces are strong near the critical temperature. So, you know all these terms we have discussed before, and see, for 1 gram of activated charcoal, it adsorbs more sulfur dioxide, that is if the critical temperature at this case is 630 Kelvin, than methane. Methane's critical temperature is less, that is only 190 K. So, which is still more than 4.5 ml of dihydrogen, and for dihydrogen critical temperature is 33 K. So, the van der Waals force, just remember these are stronger nearer the critical temperature. So, that is why 1 gram of activated charcoal is adsorbed more. It adsorbs more sulfur dioxide, critical temperature is high, that is 630 Kelvin. So, you just now saw how critical temperature and adsorptions are, it is based on the strong van der Waals forces which is nearer to the critical temperature. Then reversible nature for physical adsorption, another character is reversible nature, that is physical adsorption of a gas by solid is reversible. Like solid plus gas, you can get solid or gas plus heat, and more gas is adsorbed when pressure is increased, because when you increase pressure, the volume will decrease, like Le-Chatelier's principle is followed here, and the process is exothermic. The physical adsorption occurs readily at lower temperature, and it decreases with increase in temperature as per Le-Chatelier's principle. Then surface area of the adsorbent, extent of adsorption will increase with the increase in surface area of the adsorbent. So, for finely divided metals and porous sulfurs, they have larger surface area, they are good adsorbents. The enthalpy of adsorption, physical adsorption is exothermic process, its enthalpy is low, see up to the value of 20 to 40, because the attraction between gas molecules and solid surface is only due to weak van der Waals forces. So, in the next class we will continue with characteristics of chemisorption. Now, next we have to learn about adsorption isotherm, it is very important, Freundlich isotherm and all that. So, that we will continue in our next class. So, for those children who are watching the channel without subscribing, please do subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, and you just press the bell icon so that as soon as I upload new videos you will get the notifications immediately, because your support is our strength, and we can upload more videos from all the lessons only if you watch the videos regularly, share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel, and we will be continuing uploading more videos for the different classes NCERT line to line. Do keep watching Amazing World of Science, and thanks for watching our video.